Yo, what's going on YouTube and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte and today we are going to be taking a look at Les Canadiens de Montreal. I know a lot of my Habs fans hate when I do that, but a lot of you do like it, so I try to do it when I can. The Montreal Canadiens. So this team looked like they were going to be pretty similar to what they were last year, and then they made the move. Is this the barometer that's going to send the Canadiens from a non-playoff team to a playoff team? We're going to discuss that today. So, Montreal Canadiens, here's the context. Here's the deal. This is a team that's missed the playoffs the last couple years. They've been rebuilding. They've been a young team the last couple years, and now they've got some guys that have some experience, some years under their belt. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Kirby Dach, Alex Newhook, Uros Slavkovsky. Defense. Hopefully Laine Hudson, Arbor Jacki, Justin Barron. What are we getting from this Montreal Canadiens team? So, up front, pretty solid top line. And I think this is something for the Canadiens fans that you should be pretty excited for because this top line has a lot to look forward to. Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield. Boom. Those guys stay healthy. That's your first line. Hopefully that'll be the case. Second line could really prove to be something that really makes the Montreal Canadiens a legitimate playoff contender if everything goes according to plan, which we know it normally doesn't, but let's see what happens here. You've got Alex Newhook, Kirby Dach, and Patrik Laine. Yes, Patrik Laine was brought in for Jordan Harris in the offseason. The Blue Jackets get Jordan Harris. Patrik Laine goes to the Habs. This is an interesting trade, and this is one that if you're going to make it in the NHL, and this is in terms of, okay, so let's start off with the negative. Let's be honest. Patrik Laine's had a lot of issues. Some of it kind of being, mental health issues and things like that. I'm not really going to speculate on that much because that's for him to talk about. But you go into an environment like Montreal. You go to an Original Six franchise with the pedigree and the rabid fan base of the Montreal Canadiens. Anytime I make these season preview videos or a Montreal Canadiens playoff video, those videos always do the best on this channel because there's a lot of Habs fans. And if you are good, you are a god in Montreal. If you are a bust and that mindset is even out there that you have a lot to overcome in Montreal to make it, if you even get there. Montreal is one of those cities that if you want to go to the hotbed of hockey, you talk about the top teams, right? Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Detroit, New York. There's a reason guys stay away from that environment because they just don't do well with all the distractions. Well, for all the considerations we've talked about with Laine, whether it was video games or mental health or anything else, he is going to be put in the spotlight in Montreal for good and bad. I think this is a great opportunity for Laine. If you're going to make it in the NHL, this is the place to make it. Hopefully he's matured enough. He's grown up. He's going to honestly be playing with better players around him. So I think that's going to be a net benefit. He continues to be a thorn to the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? The Leafs fans thought they got away with him when he left. But he's back. He is back in their division. So for this situation alone, I think that could be really a boom or bust. And we saw how good Newhook looked last year. Can he continue that? And Kirby Dach, if he can stay healthy, we know that's been a little bit of a concern, especially going back to last season. Montreal might have a legit top six there. And I really want to talk about that top six. We talked about it for 4 minutes because I really like what they have up there. Defense and goaltending, no. Bottom six, Joshua, Chris Dvorak, Josh Anderson, Brendan Gallagher, Jake Evans, and Yoel Armia. It depends on what's left in the tank for some of these guys. You've seen guys like Anderson, Gallagher, Armia. We don't really know where those guys are at. They've had a lot of injury issues. Gallagher, as much as I love him as a player, he's not the same player he was 5-10 years ago. That's just, there's no way around that. So he's a good veteran leader in that room. He's going to help mentor some of the younger guys coming in here. And we'll see how much he actually plays. But when he's in the lineup, he's a pain in the ass. And I'm sure that other fans and teams know who number 11 is and where he is on the ice at all times. Defense, you've got definitely an interesting combination group here. Definitely a lot of things over the last 5 years. Not the same blue line Montreal had in the beginning of this rebuild. So you got Mikey Matheson, Caden Gooley, Laine Hutson, David Savard, Arbor Jacki, and Justin Barron. Overall, I think that there's a lot of promise in this blue line. You've got Wi-Fi, Barron, Hutson, Gooley, young guys in there. But then you've also got Savard and Matheson as your veteran mentors. But are they good enough to be playing a lot of minutes? Because I don't know how much in terms of minutes we're going to see from the younger guys. I don't, is Laine Hutson, he's been talked about for a long time, is he going to be a top pairing defenseman at some point? So that's really going to be a key for the Habs. I think Laine Hutson will end up being the top defenseman on this team. But, is he ready for that this season? Probably not. And that's where I have a lot of pause with the Habs, because as much as I was confident and positive about the Habs, I definitely have some concerns as well that make me think they're going to be better than they were last season. But what does that really mean, in all honesty? And I hate to say that, because when you look at the rest of this division, it is so freaking packed. There are so many good teams in the Atlantic Division that can legitimately compete. And I think that's ultimately where kind of things fall off for the Habs. Unfortunately, I have them finishing 8th in the division. And that sucks, because I know that Habs fans are probably thinking, yeah, we're a pretty good team. We're going to actually be legitimate this year. But with the other teams in this division, I just don't see where the points are for the Montreal Canadiens to get over 80 points. So I have them getting 80 points this season, missing the playoffs. Just to put in perspective, I have Montreal having 80 points this season. 7th place, 6th place, and 5th place, Buffalo with 96 points. So what is that? 16 more points than Montreal. Ottawa's going to have 18 more points, and the same for Detroit. And none of those teams make the playoffs. So 5, 6, and 7 have 96 and 98 points in the Atlantic and miss the playoffs. I think that's what we're talking about here. There's going to be a wide gap between Montreal and everybody else, but that's only because I just don't think they have the defensive depth and truly the offensive depth that the other teams have. I think Montreal wants to be further along in this rebuild. They want to be closer to that playoff marker. But it's not there yet. And that doesn't mean that they won't be there. I just don't think this year is the year. And when you look at the goaltending, I think that's something that also really concerns me, is you've got Sam Montembeault and Caden Primo. And as much as those guys have been good at points, I don't think any Montreal Canadiens fan is thinking, yeah, that's a solid goaltending tandem that I'm really excited for this year. And I think that's the point. I think Montreal still believes they know they're a couple years out from being done with this rebuild. But I can say, looking at the roster and some of the guys that are now in the lineup actively for the Habs this season, there's a lot to be excited about. Yeah, they're going to finish 8th in the division probably. They're still going to finish with 80 points, and they're going to be a team that's playing every night, and they're going to be a tough team to play against. Raphael Harvey-Pinard, hopefully he comes into the lineup at some point. He's expected to be on IR to start the season. We don't know the status yet of Kirby Dach. That's another one that's up in the air, so you could see Dvorak or Evans jump into that top 6. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you guys think of the Montreal Canadiens? Because I think this is a team that I'd like to be more confident. Say they get into the playoffs first year with Laine and this and that. I just don't think it's going to happen. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.